Yeah, mic check 1 2. Hope you can hear me good. Welcome to the recap of the Teacher Education Camp, the International Teacher Education Camp that we just did the past week. It's part of the whole International Teacher Education sequence, and we rocked the live camp for worldwide teachers for 3 days. You are here now for the day number 1 for the recap of it. So hope you enjoy the show. We're gonna rock it the day 2 and day 3 tomorrow and from there on. But hey, I'll be here chilling with you guys, enjoying the show. Enjoy it, y'all. Let's stay in touch.
There you go. In the chat so we can stay connected after the camp as well. Gonna drop mine. Boom. So hopefully we get from everybody so we can stay connected. There you go. And secondly, turn off all distractions. Get your cell phone on voiceless. Hopefully turn it off all the way so we can get your full attention over here. I'm going to share some slides with y'all that I prepared. And also I would suggest that please share the camp for other people as well. People in your crew, people in your studio, people in your school, wherever it is. The recordings will be sent out so that in case they miss the first day, they're going to receive the recording as well. So there's nothing to be lost over there. I'm going to share my screen as soon as I find the right one. Here we go. How to market yourself as a breaking teacher, straight to the deep end. Okay. And we had a different range of people with experience. Some people have been teaching for over 10 years, which is amazing. Some people are planning to start teaching, which is also great. Hopefully we can get you a kickstart. And for the people with more experience, hopefully you can gain something along the day and the days that you can use for the future. It can be just a small nugget, but it can be something that can change and transform the way that you teach. So hopefully there's something from that spectrum of inspiration gathered from these days. We're going to start off right away from the marketing aspects. And like I said earlier, one realization that I had earlier making these slides was that marketing is possibly the most important skill when it comes to teaching. Because if we speak about marketing, basically our teaching is marketing. You have your knowledge, you have your experience. You kind of market your knowledge and experience for people. And if they buy it, then most likely they're going to work harder for their moves and master the moves in a way. So in that way, well, we said it, then teaching is always kind of marketing the dance, marketing your skills, marketing your experience, marketing the coolness of breaking in general, and the good things that come to your life if you get into the dance, which is health, which is great relationships, which is better self-esteem, and many other positive effects, keeping you out of trouble. Many ways of improving your life. So to answer the question, what does teaching have to do with marketing? It's everything. And in that way, if we learn about marketing at some levels, then it can make you become a better teacher, but also it can make your students be more hype about what they're doing. It was another insight I had making these slides was like, you're not just going to attract more students if you know something about marketing, but also you can attract your students to be more engaged. So you're going to have better students in your class, and people are going to pay more attention to what you say in a class if the marketing is done right. So in a way, marketing is crucial. And naturally, if nobody knows about your work, then nobody will book you or nobody will show up at your class either. And I've been there a bunch of times. I've been there on teaching for empty classrooms, or even for 1 or 2 students for years and years. So I can tell this from the heart. Been there, done that. And if you're marketing something that works, that means that your classes can be full, which is also amazing as far as feeling fulfillment as a teacher. Don't get me wrong, I don't care if there's 1 student, if there's 10 or 1 or 100 students in a class, I rock it 100% nevertheless. So that doesn't define you as a teacher if your classes are full or not, but it's simply more fun. And you feel that most likely people get something out of your dancing and your teaching work if your classes are packed. Let me show you guys an example. Cypher Squad is my most advanced break-in class that I teach. Right now at my studio, I only teach 2 classes at the week. Cypher Squad is the other one, which is the most advanced breakers we have at the studio. Now for years, let's say 5 to 6 years, I had a class called Breaking Advanced. It started off pretty good, but little by little, it kind of dried off. And for 5 or 6 years, I taught it for like 3 or 4 students every single week. Now, last year, we made a change. We turned the Cypher Advanced Breakers group into Cypher Squad, which basically is the same class, but we just market it in a different way. We turned on an audition in order to get in. Like if you want to be in Cypher Squad, that means that you have to battle everybody in the crew, first of all, to be part of it. If you will be accepted to the team eventually, that means that you get to perform, that means that you get to battle, that means that you get the highest level of breaking education that you can in our studio. And simply you get homeworks, you get assignments, you get like a sense of community while you represent Cypher Squad. So if we're speaking about it from that perspective, it's still the same class, nothing changed in a way. But then we also maxed it out. There was a maximum amount of people of 8 people who get into the group. And guess how many people are in the group? 8. It's maxed out. So even the small things over here, we simply packaged it, we branded it in a way, and we marketed the group in a new perspective, somehow sold out. So with that in mind, let's think about today, like how can we market our teaching better so that all of you guys will be more successful as breaking teachers. I want you guys to succeed at what you do. I believe that you can, and I believe that you will. So hopefully with some of the tools today, you can polish some of the work that you do, whether you're a dance studio owner or you are just getting into teaching. It's all relative. So let's see. Your work quality is your best marketing tool. The higher quality your teaching is, the better the experience, of course, people will have when they join your class. So to turn it around, up the quality of your work to the max at all levels. What are the things that make a breaking class dope? There's so many different aspects to it, not just simply how well do you teach a move, but some of these things that I've listed over here. How well do you understand and how much have you studied the history of the dance, and how can you transform your knowledge for the students? So it's not just inside of your head, but can that message get across in an efficient way? How engaging are you as a storyteller? Another skill that people don't speak about that much. We hear about the stories, we speak about the stories, and we hear back in the day stories from the pioneers. Everybody who's been in the scene for a longer amount of time than the internet has been here, it's always these back in the days, breaking used to be fresh kind of stories, right? How well can you master the art of storytelling? Because that's something that makes your students' eyes shine up. But there's different skills, different tools that you can learn from storytelling perspective, such as the hero's journey. If you looked at some of the masterclass videos that we sent out earlier during the teacher camp, I break down the concept of the hero's journey. The hero's journey is a tool to use for making stories more engaging. My teacher was a great storyteller when I got on the classes first times. That's all I remember from my earliest classes, is the stories that he broke down. The way that he would go to Helsinki, the capital, to battle the baddest b-boys in the country. That was something that we remember. We don't remember the moves. You remember the stories. And of course, there was a little bit of spice in the stories, possibly. I can't tell. I didn't live that scene in the 80s. It was an 80s b-boy, Mikko Ogren, my teacher. So there might have been a little bit of spice over there, of course, but those are the memories that you remember. And the punchlines and the quotes and all of that stuff from the storytelling is the most precious tools that you can provide for your students. So learning about storytelling is a great tool that can improve the quality of your work as a teacher. And it's not an easy thing. Often we start out as shy little breakers once we get into teaching, but little by little, once you put yourself out there, your speaking ability gets better, and also your storytelling ability gets better and better. And I've intentionally worked on my storytelling skills on my classes a lot, in a way that I write down the story that I'm going to teach on a class, and I try to break it down and structure it in a way that it starts to work better. Class after class, I've been honing my stories and giving them a try, workshop after workshop, and little by little, I've noticed that it's actually a skill that you can get a lot improvement on if you work on it. So like public speaking in general, I never thought I'd be a public speaker. I said to my wife earlier today, like, how did this happen? There's going to be a teacher camp today, and 100 people from all around the world have signed up. That's pretty amazing. You get better while you throw yourself at it. Learn about pedagogy skills so your message gets across. I'm going to build on this one tomorrow a little bit more while we start the camp tomorrow. But how many breaking teachers speak about pedagogy? How do you approach teaching? And the vehicle of your knowledge so that your students understand what you mean. Often the message gets lost in the process in a way that we might think we are the best teachers in the world, but if our students don't understand what we say, because everybody learns differently, then nobody really benefits from your teaching. So understanding some level of pedagogy is a great tool that you can apply so that your students understand your messaging better and the point gets across. I've been to a bunch of classes where I ask at the end of the class, all right, how many people remember what we taught today? And there's no hands up. So it might be out of shyness or the message doesn't really transform. That's a skill that you can work on in the future as well. Hopefully we get some more tools tomorrow for it. Question, how long ago did they start? Miscalculated start time. We started 40 minutes ago and we're still going for quite some time. So no worries over there. You get the recording later. As a teacher, referencing to the best resources so that your students can do their own research. So that your students can study on their own as far as getting homework first of all, of course, but can you guide them towards the right resources so that they find more information. A class in a week is 60 minutes, which is not that much. And the beauty of the internet age that we can always refer people to resources that they can figure out and find out more from. So do we have like a beautiful set of resources that we could guide our students to? That's also another thing that we're going to work on, hopefully during the weekend. So we can all benefit from it in our teaching. We'll get there tomorrow as well. Important things while we're teaching break-in is, of course, inspiring people to take part of the community by providing your students more information about advanced jams that's coming up, encouraging them to be taking part of battles and ciphers. You probably remember the first time you stepped in a cipher or you entered a competition. It was frightening, guys. So even though maybe tomorrow it doesn't feel like that much, but if you can push your students to simply not push, but encourage your students to take part in the culture, that can be a huge leap for your students in the future. And naturally, leading by example. If we don't live it ourselves, then it might be a little bit challenging to convince everybody to understand and believe what you say. So if you lead by example, you practice what you preach, and you live this stuff to the fullest, and of course, naturally, your students are going to follow you in a more natural way. You don't have to force or push anything. You live your life to the fullest. That is part of what we do, and that inspires people by great example. Is there anything else you can add to that list that could be something that can up the level of your teaching? You can drop it in the chat below. Now, how to make your classes memorable. I already said about storytelling the hero's journey, storytelling concept. Is there any other aspects that we can use in order to make our classes unforgettable? First of all, maybe we can shift the attention from yourself into the fact of how can you help your students the most. Let's turn it around. We often look inwards because of our own insecurities and our lack of self-confidence. We're always looking inwards and thinking about what I'm going to do in this class and what is something that I feel. But let's turn it around. What is something that you can give to your students so that you can help them the most? Now, what I often do is I ask them. There's always a conversation between me and my students that goes back and forth. Let me mute somebody over here. Please mute your mics. So I'm always going back and forth with my students, so in a way that how can I help them the best? What is it that they want out of the class? And also I base it on seasons as well, in a way that when I go to start my season in the first class of the autumn or spring, for example, I always give them an empty piece of paper, like, we're going to design this season together, and it's up to y'all. I'm going to archive the papers. We're going to get back there in a couple of months, and we're going to test you guys at the end of the season so that we know that have you been putting in the work that you promised, or is it something that still needs some more work to be done? I make my goal setting into 3 parts during this season. First of all, I made my goal setting as with the students to be metric, so that we define something that is very clear and something that is easy to understand if you achieved it or not. Let's say I want to learn 5 windmills without my feet touching the ground. Very easy to understand. If you do 4, you didn't reach your goal. If you do 6, then you're way past your goal, for example. That's one, the metric goals. Now, the second part is normally more abstract. Let's set the goal for let's say having a better form or having more deeper musicality in the way that you dance, having a more clear vision of your personal style, for example. So the second goal is always kind of abstract, in a way that all things that we value can't be that metric. So we get the full picture. So first goal is metric, second goal is more abstract. And the third option that we go for and write down in the first class this year has been about relationships. Who are the people that can help you get there? Who are the people that can help you reach your goals? Excuse me. So it can be anything. It doesn't only have to be the teacher in the class. Who are the other people who can help you get there? Let's say I wanted my footwork to be faster, then most likely I would work with people who got the quality that I want to achieve. I would train with the people who have faster footwork than I do. Or I would think about hiring a coach. If there's something that I want to work on, for example, my stamina, I might work with a coach that knows about how to improve your stamina at a deeper level. Because often breakers don't know sports science facts like that too much. So I might hire a physical coach from outside of breaking scene to improve my stamina. Whoever. So that's the third part, relationships in that way, that who are the people who can help you get there, and what are the next steps that you can do in order to contact them. So with these three goal setting metrics, we've been working again in this season. Yesterday on my class, again, we got back to our goals and checked halfway process, because we are halfway during the spring season right now. Did you make any progress, or is there still something that needs to be done in order to get the point across and the goals achieved by the end of the season? All right, so shifting your attention from yourself to your students first. That is priority number one. Secondly, always providing value first. That's another thing I learned from working on online business. Whenever I start to teach, my number one priority is providing value first. That means that whenever I start, I simply have my attention in giving out something super valuable instead of holding back every single time. Especially with online teaching business has been something that has been a new mindset I had to learn. Because when, for example, we started the B-Boy and Bigger Dojo in 2015, my first mindset was like, all right, I'm going to record everything that I know about breaking, put it behind a paywall, and people are going to pay for it so that they can take all the classes, right? But then again, if nobody knows about your work, then nobody's going to show up on your class. So I had to turn it around in a way that every time I started to teach, whatever the platform is, if it's paid for or not, I'm always trying to provide as much value as possible. Whether it's social media, whether it's a class at the studio workshop, or doing a course behind the paywall. Either way, always providing value first. Priority number two. And that requires that you push your ego to the side and concentrate on your students' growth. A lot of people teach because of ego and for their own ego to push themselves up, but we need to push the ego on the side and simply concentrate on your students' growth 110%. And that's going to give you some results as well. So it's funny, the more you give, the more you get in return. And what does that mean? Like pushing your ego to the side? It means that you need to become open. You need to become vulnerable. And instead of just sharing your success, also sharing your struggle. Being open for your students, it hasn't always been easy. Most likely you've been through some injuries, like we heard from some of the people over here. You've been through some injuries, but you know what? You made it through. So you gave it time, and you worked hard enough so that you got to the position where you're at right now. That's what makes it easier for the students to relate to you as well. So instead of being somebody at the pedestal, shouting down orders down for the people who come to your class, simply getting up on the same level, exchanging the situation and sharing the moment and being open. And based on my experience, that gives the best results. So yes, indeed. Those are my tips on how to make your classes memorable. So what is marketing your teaching? Like we spoke earlier, everything is marketing when it comes to your teaching. And any level of your teaching, wherever you at with your teaching, marketing is super important. Here you see a class I was teaching in China, which is crazy. There was 200 people in the class. There was no room to move. So we just sat down and we discussed history for 2 hours. But it was dope exchange between the people and learn from them. Maybe you can find me in the audience over here. I'm not sure. Somewhere in the middle. And but it wasn't always like that. So I was thinking about different stages of my teaching this far that hopefully can help you do the next move, get on the grind and make the first initiative. So let's take it back. My first introduction to teaching was writing down my CV, putting it on paper, walking up to the dance school, wanting to be like my teacher. My teacher, Mikko Agren, who inspired me, I wanted to be like him. So I went on the competing dance school and knocked on the door, offered them my CV in I think 2000 was the year, 22 years ago. Offered them my CV and I said to these guys, like, all right, listen up, guys. I'm going to be your next breaking teacher. And so that was my first introduction to teaching. I didn't know anything about it except for jumping on the class and being nervous as crazy and saying to these guys, like, all right, I'm going to be your next breaking teacher. From there on, I started stepping up, did the same thing for all the other dance schools as well. Moved to Helsinki. I did the same thing for the biggest dance schools in the country. And little by little, after stepping up, I had a resume that could show these people, like, all right, I've been doing some things already. And that stuff worked. So I got to work on the biggest dance schools in the country. Now, what I noticed real quick was that they were not that inspired about pushing the breaking culture further. They were inspired about ballet. They was inspired about show dance, choreography maybe. But as far as pushing breaking, they didn't care. So I wanted to make workshops for the people that I looked up to. I had people like Poe One coming to Helsinki, and simply we had no space and they didn't care about it. So I got together with my crew and I was like, all right, it's time to make moves and possibly start our own school. So Cypher, the Finnish way of spelling Cypher, got born in 2010. 12 years ago, we decided, like, it's time to make our own dance school, rented out the space, took a loan from the bank and made it happen. Now, from there on, I'm thinking again, okay, all right, what can I do something that is deeper than just teaching a class? I wanted to throw an open practice session for all the breakers, because 60 minutes in a week is not enough, like we all know. If you want to get better as a B-boy or B-girl, 60 minutes a week is simply not enough. It takes time and dedication and hard work. So open practice sessions, jams on the monthly basis, and that's it. But even from there, I was thinking, like, what can I do in order to reach more people so I can get more people on the path of becoming an ill B-boy or B-girl so they can improve their lives. So I started teaching more workshops on travels. And while traveling for workshops, pretty quick, I noticed, like, there could be a better way of reaching these people. So around 2015, the idea of the dojo, B-boy and B-girl dojo, came in. Like, there has to be a way of getting people together and reaching them at the age of the internet, right? So instead of sitting in a plane for one workshop in Serbia, for example, I was like, we need to make this happen in a more efficient way. We can do a Zoom call like this or reach people via online platform like we do with the dojo. So the B1 Bigger Dojo was formed 2015. And suddenly we have people from all around the world like you guys getting together and sharing everybody's inspiration and experience. And we're here. Marketing can also go wrong. We spoke about successful marketing and teaching like we did with Cypher Squad. We branded the class to a dope package and suddenly it's full. Marketing can also go wrong, of course. Once the dojo was released, our first thing that we did was a 1-month tour in China in order to market the dojo, do free workshops for everybody in China because China has the biggest scene in the world. But what happened was that suddenly we noticed 1 month after the dojo was released, like, all right, I'm in China, there's no Google, no Facebook, no Instagram, no Twitter, no YouTube, no Vimeo. Anything, all of the platforms that we use for reaching people, none of them exist over here. Without a VPN, that's illegal. So I'm in China for a month, teaching workshops. Was fun, was dope, reached a lot of people, but as far as marketing the dojo, didn't really work because nobody could get back to the website after that trip. Amazing workshops, amazing month in China, 0 members at the B1 Bigger Dojo. So marketing can go dope and marketing can go wrong as well in that way. So I think if we think about it, like what is the important aspects of your marketing? How can you focus on the stuff that works instead of just doing everything? Naturally, 2022, social media is definitely a key figure of reaching people when it comes to your teaching. Can we make teaching part of your social media work? Teaching doesn't always have to happen in a class environment. Teaching doesn't have to happen in a one-on-one conversation with people. Teaching can happen in your social media. Can we turn teaching to be part of the way that you are taking part of social media? Whatever is your platform that you find useful, can we turn it to become part of it? So instead of, again, sitting in the plane for a workshop somewhere very far, you can actually handle it in a better way. It's easy, it's free, and it's effective, guys. And if it works, it can become your most important marketing tool, something that can push your teaching even without leaving your home. But again, we must provide value first for the people who are following you. So instead of just saying to people like, all right, I'm throwing a workshop, show up, maybe there's something that you can teach for your people straight away. All right, here's an 8-ball variation I learned from Ken Swift that I flipped in this way, that helped me in this way. Maybe it can help you in a certain way. Before you start pushing your workshop promotion, for example. Provide value first, always. And important things to realize, of course, if we work on social media, not the same message works in every different platform. You have to kind of adjust to your platform. Teaching in YouTube is different than teaching in Instagram. Teaching on Zoom is different than sharing knowledge on Twitter. So adjust to the platform that you want to use. And you don't have to master all of them. You can find what works for you. Sweet. That's my machine gun talk. Let's turn the camera towards you guys. What is the next steps with your teaching? We spoke about different levels of teaching, whether it's your first class that you want to start. We spoke about teaching workshops, weekly classes, teaching online, having your own school, and somewhere in between. What are the next steps that you can take with your teaching? Where is it? What is it? And when you're going to take it? The most important one. Is it a year from now or is it tomorrow? And we spoke about relationships earlier too. Who can help you get there? No man's an island, no woman's an island. So we need the people, we need the relationships, connections around us. Who can help you get there? I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes. Let's say one funk song, which is 5 to 6 minutes. Let's take a longer one. And the task over here is to create a roadmap of steps and post it in the chat. Again, what are the next steps for your teaching to reach the next level from where you're at right now? Where, what, when, and who? The 4 W's is going to help you get there. Cool? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Hey, awesome. So let me turn on some quality music. And we'll be right back after the song is done. Get it ready with your tasks and post it in the chat while you are done. Let me see. And please share what you thought.
So I thought about building my knowledge because I think with bringing more value to my students, they get more intrigued, and especially go to more events with my students. So let them deep dive into the culture so that they get more motivation. These were like the basic mindset of that message.
I like that. And that's important, taking your time outside of the class to go to the events with your students as well. All right, maybe Julian Whitty also can take the next one with your long answer.
Yeah, sorry for the super long post.
Go ahead, take your time.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about each one, teach one, because that feels very, very natural, like in the settings where I'm dancing with my crew or practicing with my friends, and each one, teach one is the way we learn. But then for some reason, when we get into like the dance schools, we forget that part. And then we have the hierarchy of the teacher who knows everything and the students that know less. And and I've been trying to think about different ways to reach that each one teach one approach, that even if I'm teaching a beginner class, how can we learn together, and how can I stay in that setting also as it's easy to say that always a student, but what are the practices that I'm actually doing in the class to make sure that I'm also learning about the craft. So that's stuff that I've already been thinking of, and been thinking of what that also means when I'm teaching people who are outside the hip hop community. That how does the hip hop community, what does the hip hop community get from me teaching people who are outside the community? And so those two things are stuff that I've been thinking about. There's some stuff that some people that I had in mind already, and on top of my head, number one, Poe One, each one teach one. His lecture on in the teachers education was really, really good, and I'd love to follow up on it with him personally. And for example, Monsel Durden and Thomas de France, who are two lecturers in different universities who also have been doing a lot of work about teaching from the culture within different settings. Yeah, so sorry for the long as oral answer as well, but yeah, those are my thoughts.
I like that. And something that you said that was special, that whenever you teach outside of a hip hop community, what is it that the people get from your teaching? It might be a different nugget that you give for a breaker, for example, in a class, or somebody who tries breaking for the first time. So
It
also
definitely
that adjusting your message according to the audience.
Yeah, and then also like when I got invited to teach at the University of Arts, the professor asked me that why do I feel that teaching hip hop is important, or what can hip hop bring to their education, and I asked the question that my question actually would be, what does the hip hop community get from me teaching somebody outside? So how does the hip hop community win when we're teaching people who are getting a higher education in other art forms? What does the community get? And that already shifted my thinking, and I feel it also made my teaching quality much better, and I think it inspired them also to take part in the community and not only learning it from afar.
Did you figure out the answer already? You said the question, what does the hip hop community get from teaching for more established organizations?
One answer at least was I concentrated a lot on teaching very like culture centered. So instead of teaching them the moves, I was teaching them why they're doing these moves, or why we started doing these moves, and the settings in which we do them, which would give them an understanding of the culture and behind the aesthetic. So it's not only that, okay, hands to the side and then it looks good, but there's a reason why we cross our hands, or we show our tags and stuff like that. So I think it gives them a better understanding, so that when they, having a higher education, probably end up in decision-making positions, that they understand the artists who are working in the field of hip hop. So I think that's at least one reason.
Excellent. Great insights. We'll move on to Jonathan Asher. How about your answer over here? Solving dilemmas in pedagogy. What kind of dilemmas do you have, and how do you think you can solve them?
Well, when I'm thinking about these kind of dilemmas in the teaching of kids or even adults, or even disabled people or any kind of students that people might have, then I'm thinking about, well, a dilemma like how can we deal with students who are having maybe trouble not with the material or not with you as a teacher, but are having trouble with each other? Or what if students are having trouble concentrating or are not doing something in a safe way? Or all these kinds of management, like managing students during a class kind of issues.
Yes, indeed. A big and a hard question. And the other parts of your answer as well. Models for preparing lesson plans. I like that one too. And how about teaching moves that you can't do yourself? Do you have a format for it already? Do you teach everything that you want to teach, or only the moves that you can master already?
I try to teach anything that the students want to learn. So to go with whatever they're interested in and whatever they want to do and however they want to do it. And I see myself as there to encourage them and to help them do whatever they're trying to do more safely and also more effectively. For example, if someone's working on something and whatever they did looks like a cool move, then I'll point it out to them and I'll be like, hey, that's dope. You should keep going in this direction. Or the thing you just did, even though you crashed, even though you didn't do it on purpose, maybe you can try doing it again on purpose, because that actually could look pretty good if you just add a little thing or do it slightly differently. And even if some students, it's easier with kids, because with kids, you can help them do some of the stuff that I can't do. But with adults, I guess if you have someone who's like so much bigger and heavier than me and he needs help to do something, then I can try to give some advice like, oh, if you're trying to get 90s and if you're not straight and if you try to get your ear to your shoulder or something like that, then it might work better. And giving these little pieces of advice that I might be able to give. But sometimes I don't have those little pieces of advice that they need to hear from me.
Yeah, that's something my teacher used to always say as well. Like, you don't, as a teacher, you don't have to know all the moves in order to be able to teach them. But that's a level of teaching that you have to reach. You get there by practice. Awesome, great insights. So let's go for Vin. We want to open a dance studio both online and offline. 2 businesses coming up.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So please build on that. Do you have a schedule in mind that you're gonna go for, and how did you end up doing 2?
Yes. I'm doing right now. When yes. Yes. Right now I'm teaching dance in the high school, and also teaching dance at my other renting studio in the weekend, and you can see I have a small rubber mirror here, so I can have 1 or 2 students come into my class. That's my offline studio. And right now I'm building a YouTube channel so that the people from around Vietnam can get access to my breaking teaching channel, because in Vietnam there's not much class teaching breaking from for fundamental. Yes, it's just the people each one teach one, but sometimes it's too hard for the beginner, and they usually get injury from that. Yeah, so that's the thing I'm doing right now. And yes, I always want to master my skill every day. Yes, always be a student. Yes, learning some new style of dance. Yeah, and in the high school, the student always want to dance to the K-pop, the idol in the Korea, the K-pop. So yes, I had to adapt with it. And after that, yes, I need to speak the language of my student. So yeah, I always want to master my teaching skill and dancing skill every day. Yeah, and that's my plan. I'm doing it right now, day by day, step by step. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's see that you have your teammates help you right now.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, my teammate is very awesome. Some of my friend is a cameraman. Some of my friend is a illustration artist. And some of
oh,
my yes. So yes, suddenly they just came to my place, and yes, because I teaching them dance, so they do for me some the logo, the picture, and yes, just that's so very awesome. Yes, and I have some of my friend who's very willing to do what I to support me to build the studio. Yes, so very awesome here.
nice. I would love
Yes.
you to go even deeper than that, because you
Mm.
have your teammates already, which is dope. But who are people from outside of your close circles then who can help you get there? You have your physical studio and you have your offline studio coming up. So if you think about it, like who can help you with, let's say, for the offline studio as well? Who are the people who have what you like, who can do what you want to learn?
Yes.
And think
Yeah.
about maybe for homework, think about one or two names that you can approach after the call and who can maybe help you out in some ways to
Yes,
reach that.
yes, actually, I already talk about it because my quick point in breaking is I cannot do a proper form of power move, but in Vietnam, I have some, I know some b-boy can help me with that. So I can invite them to my studio or film them doing the tutorial to my YouTube channel. Yes, it would that be awesome. So I don't need to put so much effort to learn the power move from the beginning and find a way to teach it. So yes, I have some people here can help me with that, and I have a talk in mind. Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Great answers from everybody. Thank you for your time and effort on these ones. Please keep them somewhere close that you don't lose them after we close the chat. So possibly copy paste and save somewhere. So you have them somewhere close as well. And I guess that's pretty much it for the first part. I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a breather. We're gonna start in 35 minutes for the next rant, rant number 2. And we're gonna deal with some education as far as Paris Olympics coming up goes. So get some water. You have a half an hour to do yoga practice if you want. Breathe in and out and get your questions ready before we move on to the next part. Cool. Now I'm going to keep this this call open over here. So I'm going to turn off my video and sound, put some music on the background, and we're going to start in 36 minutes for the part number 2. All right.
Okay.
We'll be back. See you in a bit. Olympics. The Olympics. The biggest tool, rant number 2. Pretty much it for the first part.
Okay.
We'll be back. See you in a bit.
All right.
Recording in progress. We get back to the part number 2. All right. Part number 2, rant number 2. We are getting back on board. And today, second part, we discuss things that are coming up with the scene. I'm going to share my screen again. Hope you found something inspirational in the first part. I'm going to do my best to provide value for the second part as well. Booyah. Thumbs up if you can hear me, if you can see me on the slides. Yeah, here we go. Breaking education's role for Paris 2024. Like we all know, breaking is hitting its. I'm going to take a photo of this just to get a memory from you guys as well. I got all of you guys' Instagram names as well, so we need to start tagging. Like we all know, breaking is hitting the biggest sports stage in the world. No matter how you feel about it, it's going to happen. So that means, let's put it to numbers, guys. the biggest sports competition in the world. There's a lot of competitions all around the world when it comes to sports. Huge industry. And this is the biggest of them all. Between every 4 years. I think the first Olympic Games was done in 1894, if I remember right, at the current format. And between every 4 years, we've been going at it. That was the first time that breaking will be part of it in Paris. And the last competition that was held in Tokyo had 3 billion plus spectators. Now think about that. How many people we have in the world? 7 billion? Almost every second, all of them which were watching the Tokyo Games. And when this is going to happen in Paris, not all of them going to see breaking, but quite a big bunch are going to see breaking getting involved. So let's say if we have 3.5 billion new sets of eyeballs seeing something amazing. It started in the Bronx, early 70s, and it's where it's at today. It's going to blow up people. We have 195 countries in the world, but the Olympics didn't stop there. 206 national Olympic committees in the whole world. So more than countries. That's nuts. And the official start date of the games is going to be 26th of July in 2024, which is 847 days from now. It's going to go in an eye blink. So let's see. Once we started working towards it over here in Finland, it was 4 years to go, and now it's 2. So that's going to come fast. Official worldwide partners: Airbnb, Alibaba, Alliance, Atos, Bridgestone, Coca-Cola, Intel, Omega, Panasonic, Procter & Gamble, Samsung, Panasonic, and Visa. The biggest companies in the whole world are official partners. Imagine if there's somebody like Alibaba or let's say Coca-Cola who's teamed up with the Olympics. If you approach your local representative of Coca-Cola, you have some leverage. All right. In 2 years, there's going to be a new discipline in the games. And here is your chance to get some new, fresh perspective to your brand. So what does it mean for us? Like I said, like it or not, you are needed. Most likely, if you already teach, there's going to be a lot more demand on your expertise. There's going to be more students. Simple as that, simply put. If you don't teach yet, if you want to start teaching, most likely you do because you're here. That means that there's going to be demand for your work. You are hired, as I say over here. Countless of new working positions for the scene, not just teachers, but other different aspects of it too. Managers, agents, commentators for live streams, marketers, social media experts for the superstars that we have in the scene coming up, new and old. We already have a general manager in Finland for the team over here. So imagine that. We're not even in the games yet. He's getting paid. And on the other side of the new working opportunities that open up for the breakers, there are different kind of experts from other fields that will embrace what we do. I've seen this happen already. So sports psychologists or coaches from other fields and so on and so on. And some of the tasks from the earlier list, managers, agents, marketers, whatever it is. And people suddenly start to feel what we do is interesting, which is dope. Been trying to push breaking for as long as I've been there, and for a lot of time, long time, people didn't care. Decades, people didn't care. But now suddenly, everybody's, what is this cool thing that people do over here? It has a judging system, it has structure, it has competitions, battles, workshops, dance schools, whatever it is. And of course, education's role in this part is important. And the higher you go as far as the level of the competition, not meaning higher as far as quality of the movement, but the level of the competition, the higher you are, let's say, in a world class or world final level competition, the more education is going to be needed. We already have education for judging competitions. Renegade and Stone been pushing that one for the last couple of months, half a year or so. And that's simply just a starting point. We do have education for teachers, not much. Dojo's teacher education program. I'm going to speak about that one in the future. But there's going to be need for education. The higher you go, the better you want to be at your work, the better you are educated, the most likely you're going to be hired. And it's going to be possibly a demand for some level of expertise. For example, just today, actually yesterday, I was turned down a judging gig because I'm the national coach for the country, even though the competition is not here. It's in Spain, and I'm a certified judge for the level of competition. But at the same time, since I'm a national coach, they kicked me out of the panel because of the fact that I have a seat at the coaching, which is funny. They didn't tell me about it earlier, but once they realized it, it was like, all right, you're not going to judge. So the higher we go at the level of competition, the more your education will matter. And that's why it's important to push your efforts in order to achieve it. Education wise, we have three different roles, three main roles that we can break these down, different level of educators. We have teacher, a coach, and a community leader. Teacher, coach, and a community leader. So let me ask you, how do you define these three roles with two sentences? I can ask questions from some of you guys as well. Let me see who could be first. Wilfredo, let me ask you to unmute. What is the difference between a teacher, a coach, and a community leader? Everybody's an educator, but the difference.
I feel like a teacher is someone that can educate somebody and teach them something knowledgeable. And I feel like a coach, could teach them something knowledgeable and something new, but for some reason I see that more in like a physical aspect almost. And then community leader could be someone that kind of, feel like that's in its words, community leader kind of helps build the community, leads in the right direction, both culturally and anything along those lines.
Yeah.
Take a guess.
Yeah, that's good. Where would you position these three roles? Let's say, where can you find a teacher? Where can you find a coach? Where can you find a community leader physically?
Where can I find each one?
Mm-hmm.
Teacher, right now, I feel like I'm fulfilling that role. Coach, my girlfriend's actually like a personal trainer. So if I was spot on about like physical training, I feel like that's a good option. If they're trying to train physically. Community leader, my mentor, Sweet Lou, he's very involved with the community. I think just in general. So I feel like that's someone, if I was to pick someone to do that for Connecticut, it would be most likely him.
Interesting. So let's build on the community leader aspect as well. And let's see, how would you define a community leader? Is it somebody who works with everybody or leads by example? There's a difference in that too.
I would say, by the sound of it, I would say both of them. I feel like leading by example, it's, I feel like that's a quality that a leader needs to have. Like even myself, teaching my students, like I train everything with them. Like I don't just be like, hey, this is how you do it. I'm like, let's do it together. And I feel like that's one, it inspires them because it's like, I'm not by myself, and like it kind of motivates them to like do it more. At the same time, I'm training myself to become even better because it's, I don't want to just have them keep growing. I'm just staying stagnant the whole time. And then sorry, what's the second one? The second word. You said coach and community leader.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. And as far as coaches, you had said a good point. A personal trainer can be a coach. There's different aspects to coaching as well. It can be a business coach, it can be a like a team coach in a way, like we have in football or different kind of sports, or it can be a personal coach that is more like on a personal level. So that's interesting as well. I didn't think about the personal aspect over here in the earlier stages. So good point.
Thank you.
Awesome. I like that. So if we move forward, now is the time to make moves, guys. Like I said, not that long ago, it was 4 years. Not that long ago, it was 3 years. Now it's 2 years and 3 months. Time goes fast. And as an example, I'm going to show you how did I go from teacher to a coach. Okay, Breakin Team Finland. These people over here. Really quick process. Within the last 1.5 years, I got a phone call from the National Breakin organization over here, National Breakin Association. They said they had a meeting that they were discussing who should be the main coach for Finland going towards Paris. They gave me a call. Would you be down to do it? They had like a voting, and my name came up, and it was like, would you be down to take that task? And I was like, yep, sounds good. I don't know what I'm agreeing to. No idea. There hasn't been a role like this hasn't existed in Breakin that much before. But I said, yeah, let's go for it. Damn, why not? And from there on, we, with the rest of the people over there in the association, picked the national team. They opened it up for applications. Suddenly, applications came swarming in, and we were given instructions to pick 4 guys and 4 girls to be part of the team. Now we made those choices, but after making it happen, suddenly there wasn't anything happening. All this bureaucracy of who should be doing what and how should we move forward, nothing simply just stagnated over there. Nothing went further. So together with Petri, who we see over here in the picture on the left with a big smile, we put our heads together and it's like, okay, if we don't have funding, if we don't have structure, if we have nobody leading this, we need to make it happen. We need to take the lead. So we decided, like, all right, in 3 months, there's going to be the first camp for the national team over here in Finland. Don't know how it's going to work. Don't know who's gonna pay for the bills, but we're gonna do it. And simply, we made a structure for 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. Open it up for Petri's gym. He operates the Training for Warriors gym in Helsinki. And half days was at my studio Saipa, and half of the day was at Training for Warriors. We split it in 2. First part was culture part. Second part was performance part. So if we came to my studio in Helsinki, we would work on things such as understanding the music better, understanding history, understanding form, understanding foundation, originality, execution, and such. And once we went on for TFW, Training for Warriors, for the second part of the day, we would work for things such as stamina, such as explosiveness, such as doing tests in physical abilities, such as sprints or whatever it is, how many 6 steps in a minute, and also work on some additional training methods, such as the kettlebells, for example, different exercises that can improve their strength and speed levels. So suddenly we had our first camp pretty much exactly a year ago. Things started to open up. Everybody at the government level saw it was a dope thing. They came to visit. It's like, all right, you guys got this. Nothing more to add over this one. If we bring anybody from outside of this team, it doesn't really even make sense. We're doing some dope things already. Suddenly around us, the team of coaches started to grow. Myself as the national head coach. We had another breaking coach, which is Pluto from the Roughneck Attack crew. Amazing b-boy with very, very versatile skills. So he asked for something that I can't teach, which is amazing blow-ups and power. For the physical side, instead of besides Petri as the leading physical coach, we have another physical coach. We have a national doctor in the team, The b-boy who takes part in my classes, who used to be the karate national team's doctor in the earlier times, he was like, I want to be the doctor of the team. So we're like, yes, you're hired. I don't have a budget for you, but okay, you're hired. And we also have a physiotherapist for the team to help out with some injuries that come up. So suddenly we're running camps between every 3 months. People start seeing it's a good thing that we're doing. The team gets bigger as far as the breakers as well. And yeah, we've been doing 5 camps this far. Last one was 2 weeks ago. And the funding from the government side gets bigger every single camp. So the point over here is that even though time is running shorter, we can't rely on other people making the moves for us. We gotta act now. That means that make the first initiative. If you have something that you want to go for, if you have somewhere where you want to be with your teaching, since you are here on the teacher camp, it's up to you to take that step, not anybody else. Nobody will be coming to get you from your door, knock on your door and get you for your working opportunities. Up to you to make them happen. Does everybody agree on this? Yes, indeed. So for this task of the rant number 2, I'm going to try a technique called the future positioning. Future positioning, difficult word. Where will you be as an educator 847 days from now? First day of Paris 2024 Olympics, the opening of the ceremony is about to take place. We saw the big picture in the first slide. Japan went crazy with the opening ceremony. Paris is going to be even bigger because most likely there's going to be an audience over there. So once that stage lights up, where will you be as an educator? Went through the 3 different roles: a teacher, a coach, and a community leader. It doesn't have to be just one. You can be all 3 if you want. But it's important to focus at the same time so you're not just too spread out. But let's dream big on this one. No obstacles, no challenges, and dream big. All right. I'm going to give you again a funk song length of time. Write down some ideas on where do you want to be as far as being an educator in 847 days. Let's search for a cool song for y'all. There we go. We'll be right back. Please post it in the chat once you have your future position written down.
Book about,
which is essentially community leader, possibly. How would you end up going for curriculum designer and course coordinator and league organizer? Can you open up slightly?
well, for curriculum designer, I've already started doing that. There are professors of the Sport University in Shanghai that they want to write a book about, like a book that they'll use to open a breaking course at the university for the physical education undergraduate degree. And they asked me to help with this book, although everything I'm recommending to them, because they're very Chinese and they're very rigid with their structure. So all the things I'm recommending to them, they're like, we want to take it gymnastics, you know? And I'm like, but it's not gymnastics, it's breaking. And they're like, yeah, but we can't have it too different from what we know, whatever. They don't accept many of the things I try to get them to understand, but maybe if I keep at it, then at least I can influence their curriculum a little bit. And in Israel, I've been asked to prepare the materials and also find all the guest teachers to be a part of a certification, coaches, teacher certification thing in the city of Tel Aviv. And so preparing the materials is something, doing research also at the sports university to see like which practice, which teaching methods are more effective or more safe. And in the year 2019, when everything was looking really cool, with some friends, we tried to make a league that every month there would be battles. And then at the end of the year, all of the winners of each month's battle would like have like an undisputed kind of thing, you know, a whole year-long league. And then as soon as we started it, COVID, you know, it messed us up, but we still did it. We still did it. Some of the competitions were online and some of them weren't very big, weren't very successful, but I still went through and I did the whole thing, even when everyone else left. So I got this league, a whole entire year league going, and I have, I can show people what I did or what I'm capable of doing. And I'm hoping maybe one day someone will give me a chance to make a real league now that COVID is over and continue it the way it should be. So I've been trying to do these three things kind of at the same time, which is really tiring. Maybe it's too much to do at the same time, but maybe one of them will work at least eventually.
Okay, awesome. Now you have the league experience under your belt. So whenever the world is more open now, it's easier for you to get it going for real. Respect, good work. Let me see, do we have Natural over here? Oh, the camera is not on, but let's see if you can hear what's going down. So basically, your goal is to lead by example as a B-girl, and with your teaching tools, continue to contribute to training other educators. I think this is interesting. How do you see that you can continue? How do you train other educators compared to other dancers? Is there a different perspective for it? Let's go.
Yes. My English is not so good, but I will try to speak in English. I think in the first time, I want to be a good big girl and a good leader for the community, like a example of person. And I have different tools of didactics because I study professor education, ¿cómo se dice? Physical education, educator. Mm-hmm. And I think when you have other tools, you can use these tools for our community. Like in my case, tools of didactics. So I think we have in our community so much teacher about about breaking, content breaking, but we need more tools of didactics, ways to teach other persons. So I think it's good. A ver si Merchu me puede ayudar. Aportar desde lo que nosotros sabemos, además del breaking. No está Merchu. ¿O sí? Sí, estoy acá. Hey. Dame una mano, amiga. Que es importante como aportar con otras herramientas que nosotros tengamos por fuera de la comunidad, como por ejemplo en mi caso, que soy profe de educación física, cómo puedo aportar también en la educación o en la enseñanza dentro del breaking.
Yes, to give what you know or make like give something positive to our community. with the things that you already know from other stuff, like in this case is didactic tools, or something else you've studied and you can give to the community that kind of tools.
Yes.
Yeah, that's important.
Thanks.
And we don't have to reinvent the wheel in a way that if we look for things outside or breaking, we see there is expertise on other fields that we don't know too much about within the breaking scene yet. So that's important, of getting knowledge from other fields of breaking and using them for our advantage to get the scene to another level. Thank you. Do we have Mary over here? I see you said teacher would love to have a clearly developed 3-level breaking course at undergraduate level to include appreciation, technique, and artistry.
Yeah, hang on.
Can you build on that one slightly?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to develop a course at the university that right now is offered for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th year students at the undergrad level. And I'm trying to figure out how to teach them all at the same time, but actually involve different levels. So in the past, I've made it a bit more integrated, where it's like maybe assignments are a little bit bigger, or they have to develop more sets or whatever. But I'd really like the next year to kind of fine tune the curriculum and make it really specific in terms of outcomes, which is a different approach to breaking. And I'm not sure if it'll work. I do like to experiment with different ways of thinking about it. But yeah, I guess that's my goal for the lead up to the Olympics, is just to have a little bit more specificity without it being necessarily like a technique thing. So about culture and appreciation too.
Okay, amazing. That's inspirational. Keep going. What would you mean by outcomes as you said it over here?
Outcomes? Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's kind of like how people might refer to it in it's not necessarily in the background of the university to do this, but it seems to be an emerging question of, in arts faculties, how can you set certain objectives that you want to teach particular things, and people will come out with those same things. So although that's being debated, right? Like we don't know what makes great artists, and you can't teach art in schools. You know, there's lots of people that philosophically have questioned that idea of, you don't know what people are going to pull out of it and get from it. But how can I make outcomes so that I feel like people have a little bit of ownership over their own learning, but still feel like they've come and they've really gotten something specific out of it? It's tricky. I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know about that approach, but I feel like at this stage in my career, you know, I've been teaching in the university for a long time now. I feel like I'd like to feel like people walk out and they know specific things, whether it's historical, you know, maybe that they can name people of the first generation, that they can name songs and who the artists are, or, you know, I think maybe it'll give me some satisfaction as a teacher too, to have a little bit more specific aims that I've had in the past.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, folks? I don't know, like, I don't want to be
Absolutely.
too technical, but
You're getting
yeah.
me excited about this. It's like, all right, let's see where it's going to be in 2 years. This is really exciting over here. Cool. Thank you. Maybe we can go for Dora next. Dora, you said that you are concentrating on your own school, but also taking part of the Romanian Federation Dance Sport, like a leader in the organization team as well. Can you expand slightly on how do you see this, your role in the 2 years, let's say on the organizing competition side? Let's go a little bit deeper.
Hello. Can you ask again, because I'm in Poland and also the signal, I think it's a little bit bad, and can you ask again the question?
Okay, so can you explain slightly about, you said you're going to focus on your own dance studio, but also go deeper in the Romanian Federation Dance Sports, like a leader of organizational team. Let's say in 2 years, please explain what would you be doing for the organization within the next 2 years.
Okay, so it's really hard for me like now to be part of two things at the same time, because of the time that you have and the energy that you have to put it on the dance studio, also on the teaching the kids and take care of them, and also on the federation you have to be present and help them. For me, for now, it's like I help them on organizing the things behind every event. I'm like helping them with social media, some graphics, and like I have an experience for 11 years, like making championships here, and for me it's not like the beginning, but it's really strange because it's now like part, like official, and there are a lot of papers that we had to do, or a lot of rules, and yeah, in 2 years, I don't know, for now we are trying to build up the national teams. We are trying to build up the everything, because for now we don't have nothing. We just this year it was the first year when the Ministry of Sport approved that breaking is like an official dance sport, and also the federation that is the Olympic sports. So we are like at the beginning, but we are trying to search for the other federations from the other parts and take example from them and try to put also in our country. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. All right. And like you said, it takes time, and it's a lot about waiting, like we know. But at the same time, maybe it's important to get going and start making moves, like I said earlier over here. So make it the first initiative, believing in yourself and going forward.
Yes.
So, good luck and keep going.
Thank you.
All right. And I guess for everybody who posted their answers, then it's a good thing to keep in mind that to have a direction, you need to know where you're going first. So in that way, this is going to be an amazing goal for you for the next 2 years. So I guess that's it. Boom. Day 2 of the camp is getting closer to finish. Let's recap on the program that we're going forward for tomorrow. We have 3 days in total for the camp. So tomorrow we're going to start building with some of the other people who have been already teaching for a long time and taking part of the Dojo's teacher education course as well. We have some alumni who are going to join us over here. There's going to be a panel discussion about pedagogy. First start with Nefeli, who's one of the instructors of the course as well. She's going to drop by over here and explain her vision of breaking pedagogy as far as teaching. And then we're going to build on with some of the alumni of the course. There's going to be a teacher-student simulation later on. Again, the same times. We started 11 o'clock New York time earlier and had the second part at 1 o'clock. For Finland time, that was 6 and 8. So let's stick to the same times, no matter where you're from the globe. All right, we go for EST, New York time with the schedules. And on Monday, of course, tomorrow I'm going to give you some homework for the weekend. And on Monday, we're going to build on for the 3rd day of the camp, which is going to be another rant by me. And tomorrow, some of the other dojo members team members will also take lead as far as curating the panels. So you're going to hear more from Create and more from Jesse. And on Monday, after the last speech, the International Teacher Education will open at vibodojo.com. So over here, we saw some of the people who went through the course already, and we're going to build more on that on Monday as well. But simply, it's a 6-month course based on teaching breaking different skills and a lot of great guest lecturers and we get together on a weekly basis as far as upgrading everybody's skills. It also certifies you, so if you go through the course, you get a certification that you can show to your future boss if you want to get a raise or hired for a new position. And that's worked in the past. We're going to build on that one later tomorrow and also on Monday. Let me see, there's something in the chat. De nada, muchísimas gracias. Yes. And that's about it, y'all. Thank you so much for everybody for your time and input today, efforts. And we're going to start building tomorrow again at 11 a.m. EST. So Wilfredo, 11 a.m. EST tomorrow, and also same time on Monday, 11 a.m. on the Monday's time. Cool. Thank you so much for everybody, and wish you good night. We're gonna build tomorrow.
Yes, hope you enjoyed the day number 1. We had an awesome time with everybody on the camp on all of the days. So I hope that you join also tomorrow. We'll be continuing the recaps of the camps with day 2 tomorrow at the same time, which was 11 o'clock EST. So I'll catch you over there tomorrow. Stay tuned. Set the reminders so you don't miss it. All right. I'll see you tomorrow. Sleep good. Peace.